The Town Star competition happening on November 11, 2025 will feature the concrete meta. The craft requirements for concrete are 1 clay lump, 2 cement bag, and 1 gravel. It is crafted in the cement factory with a craft time of 2 minutes and stored in the warehouse. For this competition, concrete will give 165,000 stars for each one sold. The trade time for this competition is 60 seconds with a 1 gasoline cost per trade. The starting layout provided for this competition is a forest biome with a river on the south side and the mountain on the west side. The cash boosts for this competition are clay lump from 300 to 15,000, cement bag from 26,000 to 62,000, and gravel from 9,200 to 38,000. The rewards for this competition are the standard Gala rewards for reaching the top 1,200 placements in the leaderboard by the time the competition ends. Rewards are usually distributed directly to your account within 5 days. This is the concrete design that I've created for this upcoming competition. This design is inspired by the paper bag build showcase. I am going to assume that you already know how to make paper bags. If you don't, I will link the video for the paper bag build showcase in the description, where I go through the crafting process for paper bags. I'm only going to be explaining the crafting process after the paper bags, which includes the new items and the new building, which is the cement factory. The new items would be gravel, the cement bag, and the concrete. But let's see how this one is doing. I've been running it for over 15 hours now. I finished this one a little bit early. I actually wasn't even sure if I was going to do a build showcase for concrete, seeing as I'm still working on some final touches for the planner before it's available to the public. But I decided to make this, seeing as it's mostly just paper bags with a few extra steps, as you will see in a moment. So 15 hours running to make sure that I have a proper test on this, and I believe I do. As you can see, it is making 15.2 concrete per hour, which I think is a very good rate for this, for no NFTs being required. Cement bag at 30.7 almost, so really it's like 15.35 concrete. I am going to scroll through the production monitor so you can see the production rates of everything and talk about the remaining crafting process and some of the things going on in this build here. So assuming you already know how to make paper bags, then you're going to also need to make some gravel and some cement bags. So the cement bags is what requires the paper bag. Each cement bag requires a paper bag. I guess that makes sense. You do want 5 energy for it, so preferably a full passive 5 energy. You do want 3 silica, which means you want sand mines. Unfortunately, we don't have a desert or desert edge here, so all the sand mines are going to be on a red craft timer. That's why I decided on 4 red timer sand mines. I tried to do this with just 3, but it won't make enough silica, so it needs to be 4. All the sand mines, of course, need to have 2 passive energy. As for the crude oil, unfortunately, we don't have the oil seep. It would have been very helpful for this. So that means that in addition to making crude oil for the gasoline, you will also need to make sure that there's always spare crude oil in the fuel storage for the cement factories to pick up so they can make cement. Otherwise, you'll never be able to make cement. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're crafting enough crude oil, and that worked out for me with 4 oil pumps. 3 oil pumps does work, but I believe you run into an issue where you don't have enough gasoline to sell everything, or you can't stay cash positive depending on what you're doing. But yes, 4 oil pumps barely works for this, and I will explain why that is, just barely. I've been running this for a long time because I needed to make sure that this was actually positive on gas flow, something that's usually not an issue here. But because I am selling so many items, I am using up a lot of gas. As you can see, my gas is 22 per hour. I probably do 20 or 21 sales per hour. So as far as I can tell, this is gas positive by maybe 1 or 2 gasoline per hour. That means if you have it perfectly balanced like I do, because I do believe this design is like very perfectly balanced. I'm not even sure how much more you could improve it, but the way it is right now, you will only be gaining 1 or 2 gasoline per hour. So if you're at 10 gasoline, it'll probably take you all day to get up to like 30 something, and even then you're gonna want to auto sell gasoline. I'll explain in a moment why the auto sell is set up as it is, but you are going to want to overproduce clay lumps. This is the first issue I had with one of my first tests, is that I came back and I was out of cash. It was at 0. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Well, I wasn't selling enough spare stuff to get the cash that I need to meet the wages. See, the wages are with the full set of enchanted ornaments are 27,000, but without that, they are probably closer to 33,000 or something. I'm just estimating here. So that's like 2 million per hour that you're going to be spending on wages. So if you're not selling excess clay lumps, then you're going to run out of cash. This build will probably make the same rate with 4 clay fields, but you'll run out of cash. That's why you need the 5th clay field to get this to work properly. And yeah, maybe at some point you could remove that clay field, seeing as I have extra cash, but I wouldn't risk it. Just have the full 5 clay fields, just have the 4 oil pumps. Make sure you have enough gasoline to get all the cash that you need. So gravel is a new item. It's crafted in both the shallow mine and the iron mine. Shallow mine has a higher craft time requirement, so it requires 1 minute to craft, whereas in the iron mine it's 30 seconds. You really don't need a lot of these, so the shallow mine is completely fine for this. You do want 3 passive energy for it. As for the water drums, you do need the water facility in order to supply those water drums. Now, in order to not overproduce too many water drums, or to not overproduce gravel, most importantly, because if you're overproducing gravel, you're wasting lumber. You do not want to waste lumber. Gravel is expensive with the lumber, requiring 3 lumber each, and you really only need like 15 or 16 gravel, and here I am making close to 17 gravel, which is great. So because of that, the best way to limit this, in my opinion, is the water drums. I'm making 90 water drums per hour because I'm making about 17 gravel. You can see that 50 of those water drums per hour go to the shallow mine, and this is happening because I also have 3 stationary shops that do not have passive water drum. That's these 3 right here. So that means I had to pick up the water drum from the warehouse, and that takes in from the other 40 water drums that I'm making. So because of this, I am not overproducing gravel, which is great, because then I'm not wasting lumber. That's what I'm trying to say. All these other stationary shops do have the 1 passive water drum that they need in order to craft the eco paper. I also have 4 lumber mills on this one. On the paper bag design, I only have 3 lumber mills, but this is just to make sure that I never have wood going into the lumber yard. It's always lumber, and I will overproduce lumber, which is great because I need it to make honey, honeycomb, and gravel. And now that I've explained gravel, just 1 shallow mine is enough. And I pretty much already explained cement, but I'm using 2 cement factories in order to make all the cement bags that I need. And then just 1 more cement factory for the concrete. And I do have 4 warehouses on this one just because there's so many items that get dropped off in the warehouse. Only 1 storehouse is needed. You do store wool, paper bag, and glue. It might jam up at some points, but you should be okay anyways. Really, it should be using all the glue though, so it shouldn't be jamming up. And just 1 silo for all the bamboo shoots. You're making enough glue, you will be using all the bamboo shoots here. Now for the crop setup, obviously all bamboo farms have 9 passive water, and then all the tree farms are in the spots with 5 passive water. This is the only tree farm that has 1 shade from the mountain, just to get me a little bit of extra wood. And this spot only has 4 passive water, so I decided to just put a paved road here. The sheep setup here, it works with just 2 sheep pens and 4 meadows. This will make you all the wool that you need. As you can see, 33 wool per hour. I had a 5th meadow here and it made like 40 wool per hour, but the 5th meadow is not required, so this spot's kind of just sitting here not being used. If you have a town hall, you can use it for extra wood production, but you really don't need it. And the wizard's workshops, just like the paper bag design, I am using 3 of them. I only have 2 turned on because I have the full set of enchanted fireworks. It reduces the craft time. That's not required. This will work just fine if you have all 3 wizard's workshops turned on and making glue. And of course, for the ceramic bowl setup, you will want 1 nuclear power here. It is required to power these pottery shops without casting dirty or without casting too much dirty on them. So there's 10 pottery shops, 9 of them have a green craft timer. This one does have 1 dirty that is done on purpose to balance the amount of ceramic bowls being made. I believe that it is enough to make all the honey and the honeycomb required for this production rate. Everything, as I said, is very well balanced in this one. So I'm really not sure if you can improve it further than this. I think this is just way too good of a build, but we'll previously. Here is what the auto sell looks like. Everything on here with a quantity of 10 with the exception of gasoline, as you saw, and you do want to auto sell gasoline. Set that to 30 or 35. You cannot fill your fuel storage with gas. If you do that, the build will fail because you will not have any space to store the crude oil, which you absolutely do need to pick up for the cement factory. So very important. If you don't auto sell gasoline on this one, the build will fail. And here's what it looks like on the Townstar playbook planner. Total build cost is about 32.5 million. Wages are 33,000 per minute. The production prediction was pretty accurate here, showing about 15.8 concrete per hour. Of course, I had to make a little trick here in order to get that to work. I had to turn the refinery off. That is the refinery that's supposed to make the petroleum. As you can see, if I tell it to make petroleum with this refinery, the prediction will be wrong because it thinks all the crude oil is going to this refinery. So with that little trick in mind, you know, that little exception, it will work correctly for the production prediction. And as always, if you have access to the Townstar playbook planner, you can click on search builds, search up the design and load it up on one of your build slots. Otherwise, I will also be sharing the file for townstarplanner.online on my Discord. So make sure to join my Discord if you haven't done so already, and an invite link is in the description. Okay, I think I got all the information out of the way. As for cash rush strategy for this one, they heavily boosted the clay lump sell price. So just put down clay fields and industrial workers and just sell a bunch of clay lumps. You should be fine. It's a very good way to make all the cash that you need. It is kind of expensive. As you can see, it was 33 mil and that's just with one nuclear power. I understand that some people probably want to build 2 or 3 nuclear powers. Given the huge cash boost, you should be able to, but of course, just keep in mind that you'll need to make more cash to accommodate the wages. But seeing as I already have like 35 mil cash running here, running this for like a day, probably not an issue. But I think that's all the information I have for this build showcase. So hopefully you found this helpful and informative. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. And if you want to help support the channel, you can find links in the description on how to do so. If you are supporting me on Patreon or YouTube membership, you will have full access to the Townstar playbook planner and all of its features. Otherwise, hopefully the planner will be available soon to the public, the regular access version with some features limited. As always, I appreciate your support and thank you for watching.